ANMPS now encourages applicants to take advantage of content reuse. Applicants should inquire with their solution providers as to how content reuse can be done, as it is done in other regions. We will be collecting information on content reuse in sequences while they are being validated. Secondly, life cycle management. Deep life cycle checks have been added to help avoid complications further down the line in sequences in the future. Life cycle checks of operations has been expanded to ensure documents are provided as new or replaced when appropriate. Third, the existence of source files is being checked for sections where source files are required. This includes the replacement of content where both source and PDF are required. If only a PDF is provided, this will cause a validation issue. The same if only a source file is provided. We have also granularity checks which have been added to ensure that only one file is being provided where more concise information is expected. The checks on the envelope have also been expanded, ensuring that codes from defined lists are valid. The submission type matrix has been added to ensure that submissions bundled together are allowed. The sequence type has been added and checks governing its usage have been added. The document matrix has been added to ensure that the correct files have been provided based on the submission types. So error can be triggered if missing content is not provided or if undesired content is provided. Warnings can be triggered for the same reasons. Some content has been marked possible, meaning that it could be part of a checklist of content that would be expected under that submission type. A report of all content marked P, where content has been provided, is created to aid the technical screening process. A content checklist is created, which will give a full list of all content marked E, W, or P, and indication whether the content was provided or not. Here we have the document matrix, which is a versioned file and can be updated at any time to reflect changes in processes without having to update specifications. Vendors are expected to create solutions that read from the ANMPS website and reflect the most recent version. The document matrix enables us the flexibility to update document requirements and change the severity on the fly without having to update the validation criteria. Regulatory should check for version updates published on the ANMPS website on a regular basis to stay up to date on current requirements. In the part 6 for PDF analysis, most importantly, we check to see if the PDF files are corrupt, can be opened, and are readable. Bookmarks are the preferred navigation and have a high number of checks to ensure that exist and are functional. Hyperlinks must be functional and safe. They should not be connected with multiple actions and should have a predictable destination. All PDF analysis items are set to warning except those dealing with readability, security, and password protection. This will result in a validation error, meaning they will not prevent an application from passing validation. Excessive warnings over time can lead to rejection at technical screenings. The PDF requirements have been set to increase evaluation efficiency and to make sequences more evaluation friendly. We will not tolerate habitual or excessive violation. We move now to the electronic submission or the e-submission. Areas that have avoided eCTD to date will be faced with structured electronic submission in the near future. An ANMPS entire process is digitalizing, so the ANMPS will start with the e-submission soon. All areas of operation will be expected to move their forma and evaluation process to electronic and use the modern technology that is at our disposal. ANMPS will be providing updates, specifications, and guidance on the new e-submissions that will make use of the trigger files exactly as the eCTD sequences do. For pharmaceuticals and biologicals, the path is defined and in the process of being implemented. All applications must be in eCTD format by January 2026. There will be a transition period from January 2025 to December 2025 from e-submission to eCTD for these types of applications. E-submissions lack life cycle and content reuse, so they will never be as efficient as eCTD. Our ultimate goal will always be eCTD for any CTD-based application. The roadmap will indicate timelines. Please note that e-submission will also require a trigger file like eCTD submission. E-submission will be validated on the basis of a published validation criteria, which is similar to the eCTD one. We have the same process for submission via the portal as eCTD. Now we are going to give you some information about the portal. Webinars will be conducted over time, where more information will be presented. The ANMPS application portal will be the direct link between ANMPS and the applicants. It will enable the applicants to manage their applications online, categorize them, track them, obtain communication, and respond. It will increase transparency and efficiency to a level that we did not dare dream was. While the ANMPS portal will be so much more than just an application gateway, it is perhaps the part that will be most visible and interactive with applicants. You will have automatic generation of application number in seconds. No more waiting for an ANMPS to respond with an obligatory element of the envelope. Applicants will be able to enter new applications online and get an application ID and an application number instantaneously. Add a new submission to an existing application and get a submission number instantaneously. The application ID is not dependent on the application numbers. The application numbers will continue as has been normal. The submissions number will be unique identifiers for the submission being processed. When managing the applications online, the applicant will provide most of the same information as will be provided in the envelope. The portal will verify the content of the eCTD envelope is the same as the information provided in the portal to ensure there is no confusion in any communication between ANMPS and the applicant. Eventually, the envelope will be reduced to bear minimal technical information, as is the case with eCTD 4.0, and all process-related information will be issued via the trigger file created by the portal. The portal will auto-generate the trigger file when the sequence is released by the applicant to be submitted. You should add your planned applications and submission into your portal profile to help ANMPS plan resources, understand when we have peak periods coming up, so we are not surprised by submission volumes. The more we know, the more we can plan, especially submissions that will take more evaluation resources. This way, my last slide, and I give the floor to my colleague Mariam to present the last part of the presentation.
Thank you, Samer. Hello, everyone. I'm Mariam Aounallah, pharmacist in ANMPS and the project manager of eCTD project. So, as you have noticed, the ANMPS is on the move. With modernized systems and processes, we are seeking more efficiencies and improved customer relations with industry. So let's go down this road together. So this week, or by the end of this month, we will publish the eCTD and e-submission specifications. Starting in January 2025, e-submission will be mandatory for all applications. From that same date, eCTD submissions will be optional, but strongly encouraged to streamline processes. By January 2026, eCTD submissions will become mandatory for everyone. And from January 2027, we plan to extend e-submission to cover other health products, continuing the digitalization of the entire sector. So what about eCTD 4.0? Most regions, including the US, are only expecting to make eCTD 4 to 4.0 mandatory in 2029. Europe also has this plan for the centralized procedure, but very few believe they will make this timetable. Canada and the Australian government agency are following a similar timeline. By then, we should have enough experience around the global for regions like Tunisia to start implementing without a lot of trial and error. So we are often asked the question, are we required to buy the same solution as you? There are several eCTD solutions available. We haven't specified which software solution to use. However, eValidator eCTD solution should be used, and Laurent's Validator is free to use for validation of the eCTD. I saw in the chat there is a question about that, so I think it's the response for this question. And it can be downloaded from the Laurent's website. So a question posed in the chat will be handled. All questions from the chat will be added to the ANMPS support log. Questions asked repeatedly or of general interest will be considered for the update to the Q&A document. If you didn't get to your question, please remember to download the feedback from forum from the new ANMPS eCTD website and send it to the dedicated email address. So before I conclude, I want to express my thanks and congratulations to the entire team who worked hard on this project. Your commitment and efforts were essential to its success, and only God knows the effort put in to complete this project respecting deadlines and without affecting each team member's daily activities, or at least without significantly disturbing our work. I also want to thank our directors, both past and present, for the trust they placed in us. A big thank you to our funding partners, the US Embassy and as well SAIP, for their ongoing support that helped us to move forward. I would like also to express my gratitude to our eCTD supplier, Vector Life Science, and their representative in North Africa, IDV, for their valuable support throughout this process. And finally, I thank our usual partners, the Zephyr and the CNIP, for their constant collaboration. I now give the floor to our partners to share their thought before we open the floor to answer the question in chat. Thank you.
Dr. Mariam, so I don't know if we have some question here in the room from the attendance, especially from the representative of the pharmaceutical industry, local and international, Mr. Adel, Mr. Ziad, Mrs. Hayat. Mr. Adel.
Thank you for all your efforts. So much work was done, and thank you for everybody. So we have some concerns about the timeline. If January 2026 will be respected, so some laboratories won't be able maybe to reach this deadline. So we'd like to know, we will support them, we will look for suppliers. So we are looking for a solution for eCTD, but it's not easy. It depends on the laboratories. So we have some concerns, and we hope we can collaborate for that. Thank you.
Which kind of collaboration? What do you suggest exactly? Maybe we can take it into consideration.
So we have, we don't know how much it will cost. It depends on laboratories, and it depends. So we will work on that, and we want to support our adherents. So we will see. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know, Ms. Sonia, if you have some answer for this concern.
Yeah, I will try to answer this question first. You have 1 year since January 25. We will start with e-submissions. The e-submission, you don't need any eCTD solution. So you have 1 year to find some eCTD solution. Now, I think the regulatory part, we will here to assist, to help, to try to find solutions. We don't want to delay the January 26. We hope we will not delay it. We are sure that some our local industry will be able to have this eCTD. They already have it since they are in cooperation with other regulatory authority, foreign regulatory authority. For the other, I think that the CNIP, the Zephyr, and all the people who are working together, even as regulatories, we will discuss all the things, and we will find solutions to make all the people start together. It is in the program, and it is a debate that of all the questions. Now, I think there is one question about submission. If we are confirming that we are not going to ask for hard copy, yes, we will not more asking for hard copies. We have no more place in our archives, you know. So we're happy to not have zero paper.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sonia. And I think for the 2026, I think we have some alternative option, Mr. Amin. So if you can explain more about what they can do until 2026.
Thank you, Adel, for raising the point about submission, which is planned for Jan 2025. First of all, eCTD submission is mainly structure of the dossier. Then there is no requirement to have already a vendor for eCTD solution. Then companies, they will continue using their documents just in aligned with architecture required by the authorities. There is no, just they are going to go to the portal and to upload all of these documents in the system. Then there is no need to have quick rush to sign the agreement with the vendors and solution, but it's recommended to have the real time to go in Jan 2026. But most of them, they have documents, regulatory documents in PDF or Word, then there is no huge effort to transform the documents into e-submission. This is the first part, just maybe a few weeks to adjust the kind of submission to go to these e-submissions. January 2026, in general, all vendors, when the specifications are released, they will update their solutions, and then they will cover Tunisia as in their offers to the companies. Then most of them who are interested in Tunisia, they will adapt like European CTD or US or Canada or whatever, then they will have Tunisian CTD in their offer. The alternative is as well is outsourcing for the companies who are really have very limited need on submission on eCTD, then which is not something linked to Tunisia only. This is how companies and countries start eCTD implementation. I hope that answers most of the question.
Chat, should I answer?
Thank you so much. I think, Mr. Adel, it's more clear now about the 2026. So if we don't have another question, so I will pass the floor to Mrs. Samah, Mrs. Ghadir, and Mrs. Mariam to answer all the questions we received on the chat. Go ahead, please. Okay, yes, sir. We can do that. So we are so happy now to give the floor to Mr. Ziad Belghith from Safir. He wants to share with us his thought about the eCTD and what they are waiting for from this solution. Go ahead, Mr. Ziad.
Thank you very much, Issam. So first of all, on behalf of the Safir, I would like to thank you for the invitation. And also, I echo what was already said by you and by other colleagues here. So indeed, it's a great milestone that needs to be celebrated. So thank you for all the involved stakeholders. And I would like also to thank the working group regulatory of Safir for their also work. When it comes to the question about the technical aspect, so maybe I let my colleague Hayat, he's already with the working group regulatory, and she's in a better position than me to ask. But I'm confident. I'm confident about this achievement, and I feel that the best is yet to come. Okay, and we are waiting for the other component of the project Saha.
Yeah, the second component about the legal and the regulatory reforms. Yeah, we are happy to do that. So yeah, Ms. Hayat, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you all for the insightful presentation. Very clear, but so far we have so many questions. I don't know if I was not really following very well, but my first question is about the baseline. So my question is, at which point of time it would be mandatory? I mean, we need to start definitely with the baseline in the first place, or we can submit a sequence and then go back and submit the baseline.
Okay, so a baseline is only required when you have a variation. You do not submit a baseline on its own. There's no need for it. You only start your building block when you have your first variation in eCTD. Yeah? So you don't have to, so if in the first year you don't have any variations, you do not submit that baseline.
We do have a lot of variations.
And then you have to do your baseline.
So, I mean, so before submitting any variation, we need to start with the baseline?
Yes. You have to build your building blocks for your eCTD. That's where you build your whole application from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a comment
Madeleine,
here.
just to add some comments, we have the alternative of iterative baseline procedure. So you can submit some parts of the baseline, some section for Moodle 3, and you request the authority to approve this procedure. It should be justified why you cannot submit all parts of Moodle 3. It will be discussed internally, and you will have a response on that.
Okay, because here a comment, according to the feedback we gathered so far from all the multinational company of Saphir, all of them, they said it's very ambitious as timelines, even though it's multinational companies and they are used to the eCTD submission, but to allocate resources for the baseline building, etc. So maybe, I mean, for the pilot phase, you won't expect to have a lot of people on board. I don't know. We will see as long as we move. We will see how it goes. But really, it would be like a blocking point, this one. It's just a comment to know what we will expect. Yes, I'm aware. I mean, because we need to have a lot of pilots to try this. I mean, at least for the 6 months of 2025. I'm talking about the first period. For the mandatory period, of course, we have enough time till then.
Maybe for the pilot period, you mean the period where eCTD submission is optional?
Yes.
For this period, maybe wait for new submission, not for variation and baseline.
For the new drug application, you mean?
Yeah. It will be for new application. We will see, we will discuss maybe when we see different submission, different sequences, we will discuss internally, maybe we need to adjust the roadmap, I don't know. Actually, this is the roadmap which was approved, but
definitely we are very committed to be very collaborative, because we want to have a lot of type of submissions, and we are definitely very committed to be on board from the beginning, but just to keep in mind that maybe for the first 6 months it would be a little bit difficult.
Can I just ask, did you mean you will be ready by January 2026 with eCTD, but not January 2025? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. But
yes,
but remember remember what we do have is the e-submission. The e-submission is just everything you printed out is just in a structured format you're going to submit to the authority. You don't have to do a baseline for e-submission. So they can just submit, they can start with sequence 0, it can be the first variation. So there's no change, it's basically paper coming into electronic format. Right, so for the first year, you have that time to move from paper, which you will now submit e-submission, then eCTD only 2026. So you have enough, well, if you say you're going to be ready 2026, then that should be okay?
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully you will get that.
Yeah. So, Ms. Hayat, it's clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Mr. Adel, go ahead, please.
So on behalf of our adherent, is it possible to have exchange with all stakeholders, because there are so many questions, and during this year maybe can we have invite them, have workshops, so people that can ask their questions and can handle this easily?
Yeah, definitely we can do that. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
yes,
sure.
I think it's
about
important.
the eCTD itself, or about the implementation, about the timeline?
About the platform where they have to submit.
Okay, sure,
yeah.
sure. Definitely, yeah.
Yes, I just want to just mention we have a few webinars in the next few months, especially on the eCTD specification, because there is some stuff we didn't cover today, because there's a lot of content. For example, the transfer of applicancy, it wasn't covered today. This iterative baseline approach, we're going to take a look at how the eCTD, how you build your eCTD sequence to sequence. We are going to re-look at that, because that is very new concept to somebody that came from paper-based to eCTD. We will also have a specific webinar for the portal, which is this whole new application process. So yes, we can do the Q&A, but there is webinars also planned. And we have a big Q&A document, which we aligned ECOWAS, SAPRA questions and answers that came from industry. We answered it, we're using that Q&A, and we're building Tunisia's Q&A from that as well. So that will also help answer a lot of the questions that industry has, all over the world. So, yeah. Yes, that's going to be part of, it's going to be on the website as well. Yeah, we will include all of the questions that came from today as well, and then we'll publish it on the website.
Madeleine, we have also an address email specific for eCTD submissions. So you can ask all your questions and you will have a response as soon as possible.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. I see that we have a lot of questions here, and it's very good. And I hope that we will have enough time to answer all of them. So I will pass the floor to Mrs. Samah, so we start answer all this question. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Aysam. The first question is linked to launch presentation. So the question is, will the presentation be shared after the meeting? The response, yes, we can share it on the eCTD website with the recording of the session. The second question is about the baseline. Will baseline 4.0 be strictly required for all products? If yes, for which models? If you are moving to eCTD, yes, for all registered products. The specific models required will particularly include model 3. The specific section will be indicated in the CTD guidance document. So we are currently revising the CTD drug registration guide, and it will include the baseline and a different section of model 3, which will be required to be submitted at the first. This third question is related to baseline. Is a model 3 baseline eCTD format expected? Should we provide the sequence 4.0 with the full consolidated model 3 as starting point of the eCTD lifecycle? So the response is yes. This should include latest approved content. Another question about initial sequence. If I have a new product planned for registration in Tunisia, the initial registration file eCTD sequence will be 0001. Yes, it should be the initial sequence 0001. Another question about baseline. Do we need to submit a baseline version for all registered products? Do we have timelines for that if yes? Yes. When moving to eCTD and your first variation is due, it is expected to submit a baseline together with your first variation. You do not have to submit a baseline on its own. Another question about baseline. Can we submit a variation while the previous submission, variation or renewal, is not yet approved? The answer, yes. In eCTD, baseline should be provided with all approved content. Sequence 0001 should then include the new variation, and request should be sent to ANMPS to submit an iterative baseline. This process is also indicated in the eCTD specification. A question about correspondence. The notifications should also be submitted under eCTD. The response, yes. All notifications should be submitted under eCTD. A question about regulatory activity sequence. If we have a pending variation for a product, can we submit another variation? The answer, example, if you have an open variation in sequence 0004, you will submit your next variation in sequence 0005. When you are responding to queries from sequence 0004, you will submit it as sequence 0006, with the related sequence number indicating as 0004. Please refer to the diagram shared on the slides. Another question about baseline. What must be included in the baseline? Last approved document or last submitted document? The response is the last approved documents. You should not submit the last submitted document which not yet approved. Another question about baseline. What about pending variation and not yet approved should be included in the baseline? No pending variation should not be submitted in the baseline. An iterative baseline approach should be followed when the approval is received for the variation not yet approved when initial baseline submission was submitted. A question about variation classification. The classification of variation will be updated to be type 1, A, AAEN, and B, and type 2. Now, ANMPS adopted WHO classification and also combined with EMA classification. Another question about baseline. While a procedure is ongoing for a submission in non-ECD format, can a baseline as sequence 40 be accepted? Yes, however, remember baseline are only required to submit once you have a variation to submit. A question about status tracking. Will we have access to the eCTD version approved by the MOH to track and ensure we have the correct approved version? Yes, status, and the submissions will be available on the portal. We have a question about new headings element. For the step of technical committee discussion related to the pricing negotiation, should the industry manage the submission of queries through the eCTD? If so, should it be included in the Module 1 or in a separate and dedicated section? This is now part of Module 1 of the eCTD, especially Module 1.12. Question about samples. So PDF samples and reference standard submission is still mandatory along with initial application? No, samples will be submitted later for analytical testing. A question about mandatory Module 1 content. Are all those documents mandatory in Module 1? No, please refer to the document matrix available on the eCTD website for what documents are mandatory in Module 1 according to submission type you are submitting. A question about validation software. Can we use Lawrence if validator for Tunisia eCTD? The answer, yes, it is the software the authority is using for validation as well. Question about paper format. If submission will be only eCTD through the portal, we don't need to submit original hard copies anymore. For example, original legalized CPP, price certificate, GMP, manufacturing license. Yes, no more hard copies. Other question about paper format. Please confirm hard copies will not be necessary for submission. Yes, no more hard copies. Another one. Are hard CDs for the sequences will be required for submission? No, to be submitted via the portal. So all submission will be via the portal. A question about eCTD software. Please confirm that we will have a choice of eCTD solution provider and that submissions will be smooth and without restrictions or problems. You can choose your own software provider. Please ensure that it is a validated software solution. A question about multiple applications. Regarding the structure of an application, will different dosage forms strengths can be submitted under one eCTD applications? For different strengths, yes, it can be. For different dosage form, no. There will be a separate application. A question about content reuse. Does the new eCTD tool allow the transferability of documents from other countries, European countries, for example, where a similar dossier was submitted previously? The answer, yes. If you have submitted an eCTD in other country, that eCTD can be reused for Tunisia. Another question for baseline. So baseline is required when we have renewal to or only variations? The answer, yes, it is also required for renewals. A question about apostille documents. Do we still need to legalize apostille documents? The answer, they should be available on request. No more submitting to ANMPS directly. Another question for baseline. Please confirm that all new baseline applications should, either already registered or new registrations, should include Module 1 documentation shared in the presentation. Please refer to the specification which documents are required. It is mandatory to provide a cover letter. However, a lot of Module 1 documents are not required. A question about timelines. When can we expect to obtain a full guideline for eCTD in Tunisia? It will be published tomorrow on the DPM website. It's too fast. For content reuse. In many cases, renewals are covering almost same section as a baseline, Module 1 and 3. Can a renewal be accepted as a baseline? No. However, if you already included the document in the baseline of an eCTD, no need to include in the renewal, as with the eCTD content reuse is possible. A question about Module 1 content. Are you going to update the registration guideline with new Module 1 requirements that you shared today? Yes, it will be published soon. We are working actively on, and maybe in 1 month it will be published. A question about training. We will need training sites for the implementation of the eCTD. ANMPS will organize webinars, and a lot of webinars will be planned for next few months. Please look out for communication regarding this. About Q&A access. It would be very helpful to share the Q&A session with the presentation. The answer, the Q&A document will be available on the eCTD website after this session. A question about communication and validation. On validation. In case of technical rejection from the portal, will the validation report become automatically available to understand the reason of rejection? Yes, this will be emailed to the contact indicated, and this is an automated process. A question about work grouping. Can we submit several variations in the same sequence? The answer, yes. However, please refer to the submission type matrix for variation you may group together. Any variations grouped outside of the allowed, it will fail validation. Another question about eCTD software. Can you share with us some recommended software? The answer, DocuBridge, eCTD are the most well-known eCTD compiler software globally, but there are other solutions. Okay, so we arrived to the end of Q&A session. Thank you for all participants and presenter. We will share with you the presentation, the recording, and the Q&A document on the DPM website by the end of this month. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Samah. Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you also for all our guests here in the room and all the participants to this very interesting webinar. I think we will keep in touch until the official launch of the eCTD solution. I hope it will be, we will respect the timeline and it will be at time. And so it was really great pleasure to meet with you and to having you with us in this webinar. So thank you again, and see you as soon as possible, mainly in the eCTD launch event. Thank you all, and goodbye. انت كمان باش تعمل عندنا فوتو دو جروب صديقي ونمشيو نفطروا. يعطيكم الصحة الناس الكل بربي. امين. باش ناخذوا فوتو دو جروب الناس الكل غاديك ومن بعد عندنا الفطور ان شاء الله. اسي وجهي خويا.